I know all about that.
Whoo. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we should really call it CP time because the Oscars and the Grammys, all those award shows, they're always running late, and that
Always.
ain't
They're
us.
like,
That ain't us. Not usually running it. When we run it, we have people going up on stage slapping folks. Anyway,
stop.
listen, I can't help it. I'm punchy at this point. I'm punchy. How are you doing, Miss
Hello,
Shante?
darling. I'm doing well, thank you. Oh,
Good,
you
good. Your
know,
holiday was good.
yes, Spirit knew, right? Right? I knew and Spirit knew. We had the choices to pick the times.
Yeah, yeah.
Which one was mine? So
Mm.
I'm glad I listened.
I understand. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for taking time out away from the family to do this for us today.
No, thank you. This was such a blessing and an honor to be asked to be on something with you. I was like, yes, where do I sign all of the lines?
Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, this has just been it's been a blessing of an entire weekend. Um, I want you because I my audiences they're going to see this now and see it later. My audience is not familiar with you yet. This is our first time introducing you to the audience. So can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got into this kind of spiritual based mindset, life changing, like how
All of
did
that
that
stuff.
happen?
All
Yeah,
of that.
all the
Yeah.
things.
So, short story, long story, mid story. Okay, mid story.
Midsummer.
Basically, mid story. I started with my previous life, as I like to call it, as a psych nurse. I've always been interested in the mind. In nursing school, I actually got into nursing school because I wanted to be a part of the Peace Corps, and they
Mm.
needed people who could actually do things. So being 18 and being I'm nice, I could smile, I can jump in and help people. No, they wanted
Mhm.
people with skills. Like, are you an engineer? Are you a nurse? Blah blah blah. So I got into nursing to go into the Peace Corps, but I realized quickly nursing was really not my thing. But luckily, a friend of mine told me to stay in until the second semester. So I did because we were doing psych. And she knew I always was talking about psych and I was talking about being a psychologist. But psych nursing was definitely my forte. Like, as soon as I
Mhm.
stepped onto the floor, it felt natural to me, which could seem kind of crazy and scary, I guess, in some ways. But I just fell into it and I understood kind of the flow and how to talk to my people. And
Wow.
that's where it began. But I realized even then it was sort of limiting because of the nature of the beast. It is a medical model, which means that it's medicine based. And that's actually how they will bill and how they actually make some of their diagnoses. Because if you go into a psychiatric hospital and it's determined that, you don't need medication, then they usually will let you go. If it's determined
Um,
that you might need medication or you could use a longer stay, they almost make a case for you to stay longer so that your insurance will be paid for your stay. I don't know if that makes sense. So
oh my
yeah, you
gosh.
actually have to have a bona fide diagnosis in order to stay in these psychiatric hospitals. So and a bona fide diagnosis is one that they can medicate. So, for example,
Wow.
if your primary issue really is just being a borderline, there's a borderline personality. So, if you have a personality disorder, um,
Mhm.
then certain ones like that you can't medicate for personality. You can't medicate someone for just being an asshole. I wish you could. Wouldn't it be great to have like the
Yeah,
asshole pill,
we need
the
to come up with one of
anti-asshole
them.
pill, right?
Oh my gosh.
If only. So there's none of that. So you have to have a diagnosis they can diagnose for. And when I noticed this and I understood kind of the running impetus for this model, I recognized that it just was not in line with myself and what I wanted to to be a part of. And so I got out of psychiatric hospitals. I went into the state. I started working with the inmates by creating programs so that they could have time taken off of their sentence because they were actively trying to be good people. So I've written many, many different kinds of programs for pretty much every part of the inmate life, running from things that they experience inside the prison, as well as to what they're going to experience when they get out and the things that will help them, like parenting, right? I made a parenting program because most of them don't have good parenting models. And so they would like to be good parents. And most of the time they're in prison, they're not around their kids. So when they get out, how are they supposed to act? How are they supposed to be better? Where are their models? You know, Cosby unfortunately ain't cutting it. So we had to go a different route and created a program for that. And I realized, however, that I've always been an energetic being. I've always had a very strong connection with spirit. And I wanted to bring that more into my work and bring that more into what I was sharing with people, but more importantly, bring that out of people. Because that's really my calling. I feel when we are connected inward and with spirit, that's when we are truly being ourselves, and ourselves with a capital S, because that's when you are shining with the light of who you truly are. And that's been my driving force. I realized throughout this time, I went through the mind in order to get to the heart, which is ultimately where all change and all things lie.
Yes.
Good story.
I think we all go that route, right? Because we're not taught how to deal with our heart. We're taught to ignore our heart, ignore our feelings, ignore our emotions, ignore all of that. And just because it's illogical, when actually this is the most logical area of our entire being.
Makes the most sense. The most.
It really does.
I was talking with a client about that the other day. He was like, I just, I know I need to do this. And I just can't. I said, well, it's because you don't want to do it. He's like, I just can't do it. I'm like, you don't want to. He's like, oh my, yeah, you're right. That is it. Like, he couldn't even see that the reason he had this block was because he really just didn't even want to do that. And he actually wanted to go a different route with his life. And so we had a whole conversation about allowing that. He's like, but I spent so much money doing this thing, right? Spent all this time and this money and this effort. So he felt like if he didn't continue with that, then something's wrong, right? Logically, it didn't make sense to not continue with that. But like you were saying, the heart knows. And you had to go with your heart, because when he went with his heart, he stopped sabotaging himself in those ways. And all of a sudden, different avenues and opportunities opened up because he started paying attention to that part and letting that lead his life. So, yeah.
Okay. That is going to lead us to this next step, because I talk a lot about changing your heart set. It's a phrase that I believe I've coined, is a change your heart set rather than trying to change your mindset. Because your mind can get set on whatever it does, but if your heart's not in it, it doesn't matter.
What people forget is your mind gets set on, honestly, whatever you're telling it to, right? That reticular activating system is no joke. And if people don't know what the reticular activating system is, it's just a part of your brain that literally is kind of like the best dog in the world. Because like you would tell a dog, throw a stick, go fetch. That's what your mind does. You tell your mind, hey, I'm looking for this, go look for it, and it brings it back. Okay. And if you want to know what that feels like, if you're in a room right now, I want you to look around your room, and I want you to look at all the things that are blue, right? I want you to actually start counting. Okay, that's blue. 1, 2, 3. And count all the things in the room around you that are blue. And now you have that number. Close your eyes. And I want you to recall all the things that you saw that were red. Now, even if you know that room really, really well, it's hard to find and remember those things that are red, to count them up, right? Because you literally told your brain to only look for the blue things. And then I made you hyper focus because I told you to count them up too. So your brain really narrowed down in like a laser beam on only looking through this tiny little lens for those blue things, but all the red wasn't seen. And that's exactly what we do with our habits. We are telling our brain what to look for. I was talking with another client and she was like, oh, I don't want to be in debt. And this and I said, okay, let me ask you a question. When you say debt, what comes up? She's like, this and this. And they started naming all the things. And I said, and what are you imagining when you're thinking all those things? She's like, I'm imagining more debt and I'm imagining all the bills. And I said, exactly. So you are literally telling your mind, bring me more of this, because this is what I'm focusing on. And all my energy is going into that. And you're saying, don't bring me it. But your energy is saying, yep, bring me more, because that's what I'm focused on, mind. So we have to start training our mind on what to bring her instead. So yeah.
And how do we do that though? Like, you just said a mouthful. It sounds so simple. But okay, how long do they say it says to create a habit?
A new habit, about 30 days.
Yes. I was going to say 6 weeks, but okay, I'll give it 30 days. But I feel like it only takes 2 weeks to break it, or like a week to break it. Like,
it could take a moment to break it. Yes, ma'am.
So how do we go about changing? Like, what are some of the steps to changing your habits? How do we do that?
First is to recognize, one, what is the habit you want to change and why?
Okay.
Your why has to be major, because your why has to be the thing that carries you. Your why is your vision, right? And I'm sure many of you have heard out there, without a vision, the people will perish. Yes. So you've got to have a very clear vision as to why is this important and why right now, right? What is the impetus and what is different about now being the time versus yesterday, right? Or 3 weeks ago when you tried. What's different? What are you willing to do differently as well, right? All of that comes into play, because we have these great ideas about, I want to change this, but then we don't make any plans. And I have it's called a fail-safe plan, and where you fail safely. Because you recognize that on that path of progress, it's not just a straight line up, right? It's jagged. There are times you're going to dip and fall. Plan for those. Yes. Have something in place, because you know what some of those dips and falls are going to look like, because you've been doing them already. It's not all a surprise, now is it? Nah, we know. We know a lot about what's going on with ourselves. We just tend to put a little blinder on and keep it going, right? Like a horse.
Yes.
But yeah. So those are the first things that I would say you have to do. You have to be aware of what it is you want to change. And you have to have a really big why as to why this is important right now. And then you have to think to yourself, okay, well, if something comes up, right, that starts to derail me, or I start to feel a little off, what am I going to do about that? Right? What can I do to plan for that? If I know I want to lose this weight, but I know cupcakes are my thing, right? And I always want to eat a cup. Okay, maybe you could plan for a cupcake, and be like, hey, I'll have a cupcake date with myself every Thursday. Who knows? That might have to be part of your plan until you eventually don't want the cupcake. And then there's that. Why the cupcake? What does the cupcake represent? Is it just cupcakes? Is it all baked goods? Right.
Right.
So yeah, we could unpack a lot of that working together as to what are these things that you are subconsciously sabotaging yourself with, that are coming in the way of your goals, and why that's affecting you in that manner, and how. And usually it's, as you know, it's something from when we were younger that we are playing out now. And that's why I love what you said about the heart set, because when you get all of that cleared and you start to really unpack a lot of that garbage that we've really cluttered our hearts up with, yeah, that's when you start to release and let go of these other things that seemed like they were what you needed when they're not.
And if how can I put this? When your why isn't big enough, I feel like we need to ask ourselves, why do we keep putting ourselves last? So years ago, believe it or not, I was 50 pounds, almost 60 pounds heavier than I am right now. Now, 9 years ago, was probably about 40 pounds lighter. But that's not the point. The
No.
point is, but I made a drastic 85-pound at least swing when my granddaughter was in utero. My eldest granddaughter was in utero. And I made that swing because I'm 54 now. So I was 45, 46 years old. I was 5 years out from losing my father to a diabetic coma. I was pre-diabetic, and here the birth of my first grandchild is about to happen. And I was like, I don't want to 20 years from now be 65 like my dad was, almost 66, and I died of diabetes. Because it was adult onset. He wasn't born with it.
That's
So
majority of people.
Right. So my why, even though I had my why started out was I want to live long enough to see my great grandchildren. Okay. But then I also had to ask myself, okay, that's great for my granddaughter to be the reason, but why wasn't I the reason? I lost some weight when my granddaughter was the reason. I really lost some weight. I really lost the remainder of that 85 to somewhere around 100 by the time I got done with it, because I decided to make myself the priority. Then it was like, wait, no, I want to live to be this age. I don't want to be facing dialysis at 63 and 64 years old or sooner than that because I didn't take care of myself. So at some point, I feel like the why can change, right? Or can at least evolve.
Yes.
But we got to find out why it is that we don't put ourselves first.
And that's a great point. The why can and does evolve depending on where you are in the journey. And for a lot of people, they do start out like you, like, oh, I'm doing this for, so and so and other people. But even then, like you experienced, that's not big enough. If you are not at the forefront of that, you're at the forefront of your life. If you're not at the forefront of meeting your own needs, right, and being willing to stand on the stage of your life, then you're correct. You're unlikely to actually follow through and get those major results like you experienced. And I think part of the reason why we don't do that is so many people, especially women, but men too, they're socialized a little differently, but so especially women, we tend to have blocks on our energy blocks, right? On what we can expect and what we deserve to have. And that's actually the biggest energy block, the deserving block. The idea that for some reason, you have to work and you have to earn respect, you have to work and you have to earn good things happening to you in life. Somehow, everyone else is more important and you have to take care of all the other people and all the other things. And then when you have some extra time, maybe 5 minutes before you fall to bed, right? Fall dead asleep. Maybe then you have 5 minutes for some gratitude. Right? Yeah. You can do some, you can do some push-ups, for like 2 minutes before you pass out in bed. Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
We always leave ourselves to the end because we always tend to think, oh, I have time for that later. And that's our mind doing that again. And that's another mindset drop that we tend to do, as a mind trap, is we think, oh, well, I'm not really all that important. I have all these other priorities that I have to attend to first, and I can do with me later because I know I'll be here. So I'll just do it with me later. Forgetting that, you doing that means you're not going to be here later. You're actually speeding up the process of you not being around to do all of those important things. And understanding that it's that whole, everyone talks about it, but it's so true. The airplane analogy, right? Where they say they always tell you when the oxygen mask comes out, you got to put it on yourself first. You know why? Because you're not going to be any good trying to pass them out, holding your breath, trying to put oxygen on somebody else. And now you got blurry eyes and you can't see and you were fumbling around. They don't have their mask on. Now you're both gone. Don't
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. But
We
we have
forget
to mean
who we
that in an
are.
authentic way, though. We have to mean that in an authentic way,
Yes.
because some people will try to use that as some sort of excuse for not doing a gosh darn thing at all. But that ain't what that's
Yes.
there for, y'all. Like, we got to mean that in a real way, that we authentically value ourselves enough to be here and to be the best us we can be for the collective, for ourselves first, but then for society as a whole. Um,
And it goes with the young woman, Jade. She's so fun. Oh my gosh.
yes,
I can just imagine a reading with her would just be hilarious. But
yes,
I love what she said about vibration because it is absolutely true. And you can, and because it's for you and the collective. When you're at your best, the collective automatically gets to experience that. You don't have to do anything extra. As soon as you start taking care of yourself better, start feeling better about you, the world resonates with that because you
yeah,
are throwing out love, baby. That is the most powerful vibration there is. So when you're
absolutely.
throwing out self love too, stop that right now. Yes.
Y'all see where y'all have to go. Y'all gotta go work with her. She is going to bring you life every time you speak with her.
Yeah.
She's going to give you life. Absolutely. This is how we make the world a better place, by making
Exactly.
ourselves better,
Exactly.
by living our own best lives, and not necessarily, and not at the expense of others, right? But just for the benefit of ourselves.
Because when we're truly living from that, there's no way other people don't benefit. Even if you're saying something that's the hard thing to say, you're saying it from a place of love and of truth. So someone may not like it, but they can still feel where you're coming from and experience the vibration of that, even if they don't like what you're saying. Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's very, very important that we
Yeah.
do this work on ourselves and that we understand that it does take some effort, but it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom and sadness and mopiness and being down. It can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Working with a lot of my clients, they're like, oh my gosh, I just did this work and oh my gosh, I'm noticing this and oh my gosh, I'm noticing that and and it's a lot of fun when you start to
It is.
recognize the patterns and you stop it. That is power. And you feel so amazing about your life. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Um, I want to be sure everybody knows that they have some opportunities to work with you.
Hmm.
First of all, this is the our last, oh my gosh, the last time I'm going to say this evening. Our free resource that you are sharing with us so graciously. What is that, beloved? It's something amazing, I know.
I like to think so. Just a little something. It's called Surviving the Survival Mind. And the survival
Mm,
mind is basically like your ego. And your ego is a beautiful tool. It was created as a defense mechanism to help keep you safe and secure for your own survival. Right. So, all of the things that we tend to think about ourselves, this character, the personality, a lot of it is made up by the ego.
mm,
Um, so that we could progress and we could be safe while we are learning about ourselves and learning about the world around us. Unfortunately, the ego can take in a lot of impressions from those around us, especially when we're younger, as many of us know, right? We're tend to be sponges. We soak up a lot from our environments. And so this tool helps you to kind of decode some of that. And it really gets black and white. Do I believe this about myself or that? There's no equivocation about it. It's like, well, sometimes no. The majority of your time of your life, and you know this, so don't be trying to play. The
mm.
majority of the times of your life, if you feel the majority of the time life is great and I'm a good person, or life sucks and life is against me. You know what you're thinking the majority of the time. And so what this does is help you to identify some of those thoughts that maybe have been lurking around and might be a part of the program of your life. And
Yeah,
so because you were unaware of it, you did not know that this is what's happening. So once you
Yes.
become aware, that's when you can bring up from the subconscious to the conscious and start making changes. So that's
Yes.
what this does. It helps you to start become aware of some of that egoic programming that you may be most likely operating under.
Let's just be honest. You are. Okay, I am. I can identify all these things. There are still, yeah, I don't want people to think that just because I think people feel like you get to this point where you're doing all this like high vibe, spiritual, high frequency work, and then all of a sudden there's just not a need for any of that. And I think hopefully you all have learned, if anybody's seeing this now or later can identify with any one thing, it is that it is not, work does not cease just because you get to some mythical or real point in your ascension process or your healing process or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. All
You
the
could
sages, they continued to meditate, right? No matter how
absolutely,
good they were at meditating, they meditated, they did their thing, right? Every guru or every main person, they kept it up. They kept learning more, they kept up their practice. Because that's what it is. You have to be
absolutely,
consistent in the practice. You're absolutely correct. Yeah.
absolutely.
And I
And
think
so,
especially if you become aware, because now that you're aware, sometimes people fall into like this spiritual, um, what's I don't want to say witty twittiness, but kind of like a spiritual elite. Like, well, I'm spiritual, so I don't get angry.
they
I
do
don't
though.
understand anger.
No, it's that daggone spiritual ego, man. That is
Yes,
just a
yes.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
is
it will
just
trip you up. Yes, it
right.
will. As one of my clients, that was her main issue was anger. But she had been on the spiritual path for so long, she didn't allow herself to recognize anger. She's like, oh no, I'm not, it's okay. Well, I'm not really angry. I'm like, stop trying to logic away your feelings. You're
Right.
pissed off. Be mad.
Right.
You're allowed to. It's part of the human experience. And all it is showing you a
Right.
different part of awareness and different part of you that needs to be expressed at this time for a certain reason. Honor that,
Absolutely.
or you're going to keep feeling these same after effects of repressed
Absolutely.
anger. Yeah. So,
Absolutely. And then also, if y'all want to work with her, this the VIP offer is going to give you an amazing way to work with her. So I'm going to put that link in there again if you have not signed up for VIP to have access to all of these offers. So I want to talk to you. I want you to tell the folks about how they can work with you in addition to just to going to your website, which we're going to put up again,
mhm.
but the VIP offer for that. Can you tell us again about what that is going to be
Yeah.
today?
So the VIP offer is actually something I had a lot of fun creating. It's called the Love and Abundance Workbook, and it allows you to actually go through different parts of the self, the intellectual self, the emotional self, um, the physical self, and actually start doing what I call self-love ups, finding practical ways to start showing and expressing love to yourself and acceptance of yourself. And so it's a way to kind of delve into that, but it's a gentle way of doing it. Kind of like if you're not used to swimming, you're not going to just jump into the deep end, right? You're going to go into the wading pool, kind of feel around, right? Maybe go up to your knees and maybe go up to your waist and maybe hang out there a little bit. That's what
Yeah.
this is. It's not a deep dive in, but it is enough to get you started and get you comfortable if you haven't already become used to that journey. And if you're already on the journey and you've done some work, I recommend you check it out anyway, because there's always a new way that we can do things. We can always add new tools to our tool belt, right? Sometimes we have our mechanisms that help us to deal with strife and deal with challenges, and they may
Yeah.
not work. Well, this may have something in it that can work for you, right? And that will work in a pinch. And that's what I try to do. Not stuff that's going to take 15 hours to get right. You can just do it in like a couple of minutes. And
Yeah.
that way you can keep it moving and also feel like, hey, I'm progressing. And I like this about myself. This is fun.
That's excellent. I love that. I love that. And then y'all going to go to her website and then
Yes.
y'all going to go on and start to work with her on a long-term basis
Yes.
or a short, short or midterm.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want you all to get in front of and get with and start interacting with this divine energy, because it will transform your entire life.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. As soon as you open up to it, the floodgates, babes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
the
it's.
divine energy I was talking about was you, but
Oh,
okay.
thanks.
Wait. She means me.
Oh,
Yes,
me.
I mean you.
I was just thinking about how, yeah, they were saying, when you start looking and asking for spirit for things, you start getting all of those coming to you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
you sure do. You sure do. Shante, this has been magical and fabulous and enlightening and empowering.
Well,
I
thank you.
so very much appreciate you.
I
I so very
appreciate
much
you
appreciate you.
very much.
Now, is there anything else that you would like to leave with us this evening as we prepare for our drawing? We're about to do a drawing.
I'm
I
excited.
know.
Yes. I think honestly, the only thing I would leave everyone with is I've realized that I think big part of my message in this world, well, two parts, is hope and fun.
Hmm.
I think we need more hope, and I
Hmm.
think we definitely need more fun. And we
Amen
need
to
to
that.
allow ourselves to to be hopeful and to have fun, because that's where it comes from, right? It comes from
Yeah,
us, and we have to be willing to have the hope and spring from the hope. But even
yeah.
more than hope, even deeper than that, is faith. Faith is even more.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah. So start with the hope, and then after a while, let that develop more into some deeper faith. And that will carry you through any and everything, my darlings.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you for taking your time. You just got off the road. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure.
Yay.
And thank you,
I,
everyone, for being here. So many
yeah.
blessings for all of you. It's such a beautiful place he's created for us, right? Ah, so stoked.
That's the theme, is more fun. Like everybody today has just been about fun. Have fun, have
Yes.
fun, have fun.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. All right, my dear, I'm going to drop you down because we're going to
Okay.
get prepared for the drawing. Thank you. I will
Mwah,
see
mwah,
you
mwah, mwah.
very
Yes.
soon.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye for now.